If you recall in lesson 3, we spent a lot of time comparing monthly returns on GM and Cisco. We did it with a histogram, we did it with descriptive statistics. We'll see a box plot really, I think, more easily summarizes the differences and similarities between the monthly returns on Cisco and GM. Now, ideally, you would like to have the GM returns in one column and the Cisco returns in another column, like we did in lesson 3, but Microsoft's box plot capabilities doesn't support that at present. So what I had to do was put the GM returns in one column and then the Cisco returns right below that. So you have to set things up like that, not have your data in multiple columns in this situation. So now we can create a box plot for GM and Cisco with the data set up like this by going Control-Shift right arrow, down arrow. Then again, we'll pick up box and whisker plot. There we go. And again, I like to make it, from the Design tab, I like to make it black. Okay, now what do we learn from this here? Okay, what can we learn about GM and Cisco? We've already learned a lot of stuff. That Cisco does better on average. How do you see that typically than GM? Because the whisker, upper whisker for Cisco is higher and the box for Cisco is higher. So for typical value, it's easy to see visually that Cisco did better than GM. Okay. Now, basically, we had symmetry for both Cisco and GM, and how can we sort of see that? Well, basically, the height of the top whisker and the bottom whisker are roughly the same, so we don't have much skewness, okay? If the top whisker was much bigger than the bottom whisker, you'd have a lot of skewness, okay? Or positive skewness. If the bottom whisker was much bigger than the top whisker, you'd have a lot of negative skewness. It spits right out at you. Now, here's an outlier. You can see that X there is an outlier because it's below the bottom of the lower whisker. Now, the third dimension on which we summarize data is spread about the mean. And we can see the box for Cisco is taller than the box for GM, which means there's more spread about the mean. And the whiskers for Cisco are bigger than the whiskers for GM, which means, again, there's more spread about the mean for Cisco than GM. So we've seen visually in a minute or two the comparisons between Cisco and GM on the 3 dimensions we care about, and I think a picture is much more powerful than numbers. So a box plot is just fantastic for comparing data sets. In the next video, we'll show you how you can do box plots where you have multiple populations, but multiple variables on each population.